So a couple weeks ago I noticed all these trees were pulled out across right here. There's a trail that runs right through here. Look at this. This big hole. You can see all the activity around the edges. Look at that trail right through here. And those are not deer prints. And right over there is where I got the thermal. Only about 30 feet on the other side of that tree right there. So they're coming through here, I believe. Because that's not deer, that's not dog. Those are big, those are human size. Goes right up through there. How big those impressions are. Sideways impression right there. Goes that way. Big one right there. So this winter, this past winter, the activity has been very obvious, very specific. Me going back there and finding the squirrel, the half-eaten squirrel, and then a day or two later, find the squirrel behind the chicken coop. Then there's the movement during the day of the branches that went up and down while I'm back there. And then you've got the skinning rock that was found on the stump. And then later on the footprint in the corn pile. And right before all that, there was 3 or 4 different times where there were softball-sized rocks thrown in my yard while I'm not looking. I'd hear them hit, turn around, go over there, and I'd find them. That happened 4 or 5 times. And the big piece of concrete. It's like they amped up the throwing, and then it went to all the other stuff. Judging by the activity that I'm getting right after it gets dark, all the way up until 3 in the morning, I think it's very simple. They've moved in and they're staying more permanently on that hill back behind my property. And I'll show you the hill. That's what I think is going on now. I think every bit of this was just a test to see if I was going to run them off or shoot at them or whatever. They don't trust very easily. I don't even think they trust me. I think they just trust that I'm not going to try to hurt them. But it all just kind of seemed like a test. And there's been less of the throwing and a lot more vocalizations. I don't know what that means, but it feels like they're here a lot more now but they're not interacting with me on the porch as much. But according to the recordings and my camera back there, they're around for sure. And then the dogs, you know, they go nuts. Gotten a few vocals from that. I think that's what's going on. And that hilltop is perfect. I'll show you why I think they're back there. So I am about, I don't know, 60% sure that all this area right here is where they hang out during the day. They're bed down, hiding somewhere in here. It's got to where now, like right after dark sets in, I've had several indications that they're already around. And then I had a video a few months ago before it got hot. I'm back here during the day, in the afternoon. I think it was about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, where these limbs were being pulled down. And that's where I found the half squirrel one day, and then the next day, back at my house, found another squirrel right behind the chicken coop. But I mean, it's pretty much infuriating knowing where they're at. But you just can't, I can't get ahead of them. You know, it's just patience and luck, and hopefully they, I don't know, they intentionally, seems like every once in a while they intentionally want to show themselves, or not really show themselves, but let me know they're here for whatever reason. I mean, the other night, you know, I set that recorder out. It's at 9:02, 9:06. And then the first break and vocal was like 7 minutes later, after I left the recorder and then went inside. So, I mean, I think right before dark at least, they move into this area right here, which makes perfect sense. I mean, my house is back up the hill that way. So, and there's no houses back behind here for a couple miles. And there's like one other house over there. So when they're back here, they know the direction the human activity is going to come from, pretty much. Tactically, I mean, it would be pretty much the same thing I would do. So it all makes sense, but it does get frustrating knowing they're, I mean, odds are they're out here right now looking at me. At least one of them is. And they know I don't do anything. I walk in the area, look around a little bit, and then walk out again. This is the same spot where we had that real loud break that night. Me and my son were down here just a couple weeks ago. And then that stop where I found that rock was right there. So they're watching during the day too, which means they're here during the day. All right, this is on top of the hill. More than enough places to hide all around